Hello and welcome back to the Geneva Dialogues. Joining us for this segment is the CEO of the Jean Richard watch brand, Mr. Bruno Grande. Bruno, nice to have you on set.
I am.
For those who don't know about the brand, tell us a little bit perhaps about the history, because as we can see, 1681 goes quite back in time, perhaps further than any of the other Swiss watchmakers.
Actually, Daniel Jean Richard was one of the founding fathers of the industry, at least in the region of Neuchâtel, La Chaux-de-Fonds, Le Locle. In the 17th century, actually, he assembled the first watch in that region, and he was also one of the founding fathers of the industry. Not only that, but also one of the inventor of the school.
The brand slogan today is a philosophy of life. Can you tell us more a little bit about that and how that plays into the products that you're offering today?
Philosophy of life is really the fil rouge of Daniel Jean Richard today. And Daniel Jean Richard was also somebody that was projected towards the future. He took a huge risk in assembling the first watch in our region. So we wanted to reuse also the historical things of Daniel Jean Richard, but also projecting our brands in the future. And that's why the philosophy of life being a way of living, people that live their life to the fullest, people that are living their passion to the extreme.
And just looking at the products, we wouldn't call it exactly classical, but there is certainly a sort of vintage or retro inspiration to some of the design elements. Was that something that you've added as a personal touch to the products?
I wouldn't say that is a personal touch. I mean, there are plenty of people that worked in order to make sure that this could become an icon. I think that there is definitely this inspiration from a past success of Jean Richard. So for us, there is one chassis. The chassis, which is the element of the case, where you have a container which contains the movement, the middle case part, and two sides bar, which are kept together by 4 screws in titanium.
And I mean, what are the challenges, entering new markets, emerging markets, opening new stores? What has been the biggest challenge, for you in increasing Jean Richard's global distribution network?
But for us is really the fact of letting people understand and take the time to discover the brand. Awareness is definitely something on which we are working, because when we took over this brand 2 years ago, we had really to rework on the awareness of the brand. That's why we are enlarging also our panel of partnership in order to make sure that we can reach the global audience with the name. Once people take the time to discover the product, in general they buy, because I think that we have a very good product in terms of value for money, quality-wise Swiss-made, and also some innovative things in terms of the conception of the watch, and that's also another extra argument for us.
Well, you've actually just touched on the next question I wanted to ask you, and that's regarding partnerships. Now, with this philosophy of life ethos, let's say, we've seen Jean Richard take on some very atypical, I would say, ambassadors and partnerships. Captain Sully or Sullenberg comes to mind with the 208 seconds aeroscope you've released in his honor. But perhaps the most interesting is the most recent partnership, and that's with the Arsenal Football Club. So can you tell us about how that came to being?
But as I was saying before, when we talk about the philosophy of life, for us is very much related to personality, and personality which are ordinary people doing extraordinary things. You mentioned Captain Sully, he did something extraordinary. There is Nick Wallenda, which is also continuing the tradition of his family for since 200 years. They are walking on a tightrope. And Arsenal, which is the famous London-based football club, is always on top of the league by putting new talents on the first squad. So that's really very much in line with our philosophy of life, and that makes also us visible to the global audience. As you know, the English Premier League is very much developed in Asia, but not only. Also in Middle East, for us, there is definitely an interest. Being one of the major partner of the Arsenal Football Club, a very famous airline, Middle East airliner.
Okay, and can we expect an Arsenal-themed timepiece anytime soon?
Absolutely. Just in a few weeks' time, we are going to release the product. We are going to have most probably 2 kinds of product, one terrascope and one aeroscope, so a chronograph. And that will be presented in a couple of weeks.
Okay, and my final question to you, Bruno, is what would be your philosophy of life?
The only thing that is also part of my philosophy, but unfortunately I don't have, is that everybody has a watch, but nobody has a time. So that's something that I would like to include also in my philosophy of life, but today is impossible.
Bruno, thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you.
And that's all we have for section 3, but do stay tuned for the next segment.